When the sun comes up on America, across open fields, small towns, and city streets, a new day begins. And here, we rise with it. This is where hard work meets headlines, where truth matters, and America wakes up informed.
An interesting week.
They all are.
This is your country. This is your morning. This is Daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. America, let's do it together.
Love you, Ivy.
Love you too.
And it starts right now.
All right, let's kick off another brand new week here on Daybreak. Glad to have you on board for the conversation. A lot to cover here today. Big stories happening all over the country and around the world. Three big things this hour. Number one, ICE officers will soon all be wearing body cameras, especially during traffic stops in pursuit of illegal aliens. It's the right thing to do, but it will likely not change anyone's mind on either side of this emotional argument. Number two, more American service members have been killed following an Iranian missile attack on Jordan, as the United States has ramped up attacks along the Strait of Hormuz, pounding targets day after day. We'll have the latest on that. And number three, President Trump is delivering on his promise to secure our elections, at least give it his best shot, by exposing the rot that threatens them in the first place, including how China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, starting during the 2020 cycle and maybe before. In case you missed it, here it is.
Over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. The intelligence even shows that China has signed a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project.
Well, the Democrats and mainstream media are, of course, immediately denouncing this as a conspiracy theory. That happened Thursday, of course. And this, folks, is classic Trump derangement syndrome in action. Blind hatred that flips their own long-held beliefs the moment Trump takes a position on them. Today, I'm laying it all out. Democrats and the media spent years screaming about election vulnerabilities when it suited their narrative. Now they mock the very idea they once treated as urgent. The only thing that's changed is who's leading the charge. Let's walk through the evidence. For years, prominent Democrats, computer science professors, and election experts have been ringing alarm bells about our voting systems. Listen to this.
Virginia just stopped using touchscreen computer voting because it's so vulnerable.
Right.
We need to look at all the voting machines. Every Secretary of State needs to be, assisted in making sure that they are not being hacked and attacked.
I continue to think that our voting machines are too vulnerable.
Researchers have repeatedly demonstrated that ballot recording machines and other voting systems are susceptible to tampering.
Even hackers with limited prior knowledge, tools, and resources are able to breach voting machines in a matter of minutes.
In 2018, electronic voting machines in Georgia and Texas deleted votes for certain candidates or switched votes from one candidate to another.
The biggest seller of voting machines is doing something that violates Cybersecurity 101, directing that you install remote access software, which would make a machine like that, a magnet for fraudsters and hackers.
These voting machines can be hacked quite easily.
You could easily hack into them. It makes it seem like all these states are doing different things, but in fact, 3 companies are controlling this.
I could show you hours of that stuff, hours. Even more individuals detailing how electronic equipment is connected to the internet, running outdated software, vulnerable to malware by the way of USB drives, and wide open to manipulation. You heard the Democrats, one after another, saying it. You see, they weren't shy back then. These were not fringe voices. These were the experts. Democrats platformed when it helped push stories about foreign interference hurting them. But now, crickets or outright denial, because acknowledging it might validate Trump's push for real safeguards. And it wasn't just vague warnings. Here's Adam Schiff in 2018, not long ago at all. Listen to this.
Russian efforts are pervasive in terms of their social media campaign to divide us. That's going to continue to the election. We see that the Russians are again trying to spearfish and potentially hack election campaigns. The only element we have not seen to date, as Director Wray said, is the hacking of voter registration databases or voter equipment. But as our intelligence chief said, that's just one keystroke away.
He was the leading Democrat, and now he's a senator, explicitly calling out the hacking risk to voter databases and equipment. One keystroke away from disaster. He treated it like a dire threat requiring action, which it was and is. What a difference a few years and a Trump candidacy makes. Suddenly, those same risks are dismissed when the focus shifts to securing things properly under Republican leadership. Then there's the disgraced Eric Swalwell in 2019. Here's what he said.
Well, do you worry that the Russians have developed the capability to actually change vote counts in the United States?
Yes. You know, the men and women who are working at the intelligence communities, they understand the risk, and I talk to them often. But again, it has to come from the top, and that starts with the president directly confronting the man who ordered the attack against America and telling Vladimir Putin, we will not stand for this.
A cyber attack that could dramatically change the view, the democracy here in the United States, change totals in an election.
Wolf, I fear that we cannot weather another attack like this. We can survive one attack, and if we learn from it, we'll be better off in future elections. We can't handle another attack from Russia, and even worse, we can't handle a 2 or 3 front war if other countries with similar capabilities see a chance to get in on U.S. elections.
Well, do other hostile countries, let's say like North Korea or Iran, have a similar capability, let's say China, for that matter?
Yes, Wolf, there are many other countries with similar capabilities.
He hammered on foreign actors targeting our elections, painting Russia as an existential danger meddling in our processes. He had less evidence at the time, but apply that logic today to China's actions, which was mentioned there, as intelligence officials have noted, and suddenly it's off limits. This selective memory is what TDS looks like. Principles evaporate, if there were any, when they conflict with anti-Trump fervor. Congressman Seth Moulton didn't use to hold back either. He's on his way out of Congress, but here's what he said.
America, DNI's 2023 annual threat assessment found that China is already meddling in our elections, including at the local level. This isn't a problem for us to address later. It's happening here and now. So, Ms. Wang, in light of that clear and present danger, how can Congress act now to protect our democratic institutions?
So China used to be a clear and present danger. Those are his exact words, not mine. Yet when Trump highlights and puts a spotlight on it, they call it madness. This selective outrage reveals the derangement. And it's not the only ones. There's more evidence, piles of it. They knew for years that Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, and maybe others could meddle in our elections. And yes, change votes on voting machines, manipulate outcomes, use propaganda to influence voting. All of these things, all of the above. Until Trump says so, at which point we have the most secure elections in history. 2020 was the most secure election ever. No, it wasn't. Welcome to Monday. We've got a lot more to cover on this story when we come back on Daybreak. I want to continue putting the evidence on the table because it is so important to understand the Democrats were screaming about the vulnerabilities of American elections until they started claiming they were most secure in the world, most secure ever. Don't forget Joe Biden's own director of national intelligence, Avril Haines, in 2024. No one treated her with the same kind of contempt that they're treating Trump with, yet this was her testimony just 2 years ago. Listen.
And of course, the most significant foreign actors who engage in foreign influence activity directed at the United States in relation to our elections are Russia, are the People's Republic of China, or PRC, and Iran.
So she confirmed the People's Republic of China is actively meddling in our elections. This is under a Democratic administration, and yet the same crowd denigrates Trump for highlighting it. Why? Because admitting it the problem now means giving credit where it's due to the man they've spent years trying to destroy. This isn't governance. It's partisan theater at the expense of election integrity. The media's role in this only fuels the derangement. Multiple stations refuse to even carry President Trump's full live speech. Think about how ridiculous that is. Here we have the President of the United States addressing the nation on a critical issue. Foreign interference in our elections, and major networks decide viewers can't be trusted to hear to make up their own minds. They cut away, offered spin instead of substance, and treated informed citizens like children who need gatekeepers. That's not journalism, that's information control. It's censorship. And it reeks of fear that the American people might actually agree with the concerns once they heard the unfiltered facts. They ran headlines framing Trump's points as baseless conspiracy theories, yet the same outlets had no problem amplifying every Russia-related claim for years. This double standard erodes trust, destroys it, in fact. Democrats themselves eroded trust in the 2016 election. Remember these election deniers?
Was stolen.
Stolen. He's an illegitimate president. He's an illegitimate president.
You know, pretending to be president.
Why do you think the president is going to such great lengths to essentially prove that he beat you?
Because he didn't.
1/3 of Clinton supporters say Trump election is not legitimate.
I think he's an illegitimate president that didn't really win.
You are absolutely right.
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
The 2016 election was stolen. Got a nicer way to say that?
Say Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked our election.
Russia hacked our elections.
A little louder, please.
Russia hacked our election. That was a 9/11 scale event.
This was a kind of cyber 9/11. American institutions.
9/11.
Yes.
Russia hacked our election.
Russia, of course, hacked our election here.
Half of Clinton's voters believe the conspiracy theory that Russia hacked Election Day votes.
We know that they were into voting rolls. Actual interference with the elections themselves. We know it happened.
They openly screamed from the rooftops that it was stolen. Fast forward and Trump raises parallel concerns about China, and suddenly questioning anything is just dangerous. CBS provided another telling example. They leaned on a denial from the Chinese Communist Party itself as some kind of gotcha fact check, as if the communists are to be trusted. Listen to this.
He seems to be alleging there that China actively tried to undermine him and even referenced wanted to get him to resign at one point. Ahead of this, I did reach out to Chinese officials who were already prepared with a pre-buttal here.
Yeah. They leaned on a denial from the Chinese Communist Party itself as some kind of gotcha fact check against Donald Trump. Really? Relying on the word of the very regime accused of meddling. It's not serious reporting. It's embarrassing capitulation that proves the media's bias runs deeper than any foreign threat they pretend to ignore. For more evidence of these very real elections and concerns that Democrats once embraced, look no further than at how networks covered the issue previously. This used to be NBC. Listen.
Trying to keep these machines off the internet, or trying to establish some sort of certifiable ballot, paper ballot system, or any of the other things that have been proposed. And so the combination of seeing the incredible vulnerabilities that we saw on display in real time at this event, and the lack of institutional action around the security of the vote, all of that made for an extremely alarming weekend.
Huh. Now, this earlier reporting acknowledged the vulnerabilities in our systems, the very ones Trump is now demanding we fix. It matches the expert warnings and intelligence assessments. And yet today's NBC calls Trump's announcement a, quote, multi-pronged conspiracy theory. That's what happens when TDS overrides duty to country. Trump derangement syndrome prevents unity on basic national security. It leads media to black out speeches, networks to platform foreign denials over American concerns, and politicians to flip on issues they once owned. The result? Vulnerable elections that hurt all Americans, period. We the people see it. We remember their past words and warnings. We know a secure elections strengthen democracy for everyone. President Trump is leading because he puts America first. It's time to reject the derangement, demand the safeguards, and ensure every legal vote counts. Why? Because our future and our republic depend on it. And that's the monologue. Everyone knows the next medical crisis is just around the corner, whether it comes in the form of a crippling winter storm or a pandemic or something much more mundane like a tick bite this year. You and your family need to be prepared, and that's where the Wellness Company comes in. The Wellness Company. We have doctors like Peter McCullough here on a regular basis. The Wellness Company and its doctors are medical professionals that you can trust, and their line of prescription medical kits are the gold standard when it comes to keeping you and your family safe and healthy. Whether it's the medical emergency kit, the contagion kit, the first aid kit, or the travel kit, these prescription kits contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks to assist in the proper use of these medications. Rest assured, know that you have emergency antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics on hand to help keep you and your family safe when you need it. It's easy. Go to twc.health/Gruber today and order. twc.health/Gruber. Use the promo code Gruber again to save 10%. They're on my shelf. They should be on yours. I'll take a break and be back. Nice to see you on a Monday. For 9 straight nights, the United States has been pounding targets in Iran, hundreds of targets, many of those in provinces that had previously not taken the brunt of the attack. But in light of 4 American service members being killed over the weekend, 3 in Jordan, 1 in Iraq, the president has ordered a consistent, brutal series of attacks happening every night from CENTCOM. The deaths are the first since the 1st of March in this battle. Brings to 17 the number of Americans killed as a result of this military action against Iran. Meanwhile, up in Maine, a Plattner ally, a guy who endorsed Graham Plattner, a guy who was on board with him, Troy Jackson, seems to be the guy who has locked in the nomination now to run against Susan Collins. Former Maine Senate President Troy Jackson is his name. They're holding a convention of sorts this coming weekend where he will be confirmed. But he holds the same progressive ideals as Graham Plattner. And these are not progressive. Outlaw prisons, end police presence, defund the police, defund prisons. Free stuff for everybody. What could possibly go wrong? But Troy Jackson is a credible candidate. except that he was a guy who can't explain why he supported Plattner. That'll be in the commercials all over the place, I can assure you. It will be in commercials everywhere as Troy Jackson will surge to the top. I'll have to talk to my friends in Maine and see how that works out. Ray Richardson's up there with me. We'll talk to Ray about what he thinks about this development, if it means anything. Today's episode of the program brought to you by PureClean's Veterans Initiative, PureVet programs. Veterans, if you're ready to own your own business and be your own boss, join a trusted brand. Serve your community in a new way. If you're a veteran, you can be part of this massive restoration business, billions of dollars. Just call 855-PureVet or go to purevet.com. They cut the tape. They cut the cost. They put veterans first. It's a great program from a great company. purevet.com or 855-PureVet. Good morning. It's Monday. Nice to see you. All right, back to it now on a Monday. Glad to have you on board here as we cover all the important stories. The left has been well-versed and well ahead when it comes to using courts to their advantage, politically speaking. Targeting anything they don't like, they go to the courts and oftentimes find a sympathetic judge to work, well, for their benefit. Seems that way anyway. Are the courts being weaponized against us? Of course they are, but who's paying for it? Robert Romano is the Executive Director of Americans for Limited Government. He joins me now. Robert, good morning.
Good morning. It's great to be on.
So here it is. Lawsuits targeting American energy development, high-tech manufacturing. I mean, anything that advances America's cause seems to be under attack, and we need to know when there are pipelines, energy development, border security, defense contractors, infrastructure projects. I mean, the list goes on, Robert.
Absolutely.
But who's paying for it? But who's paying for it? Who's footing the bill? That's the real question. Is it American citizens or money from overseas?
We think it's probably money from overseas as well as competitors targeting one another, in order to either seize up our energy infrastructure, our manufacturing capacity. You look at like data centers nowadays. I think that this is a real problem where foreign competitors can actually come into our courtrooms via third-party litigation financing, put it into a shell company or something like that, and then sue our own domestic producers, and that is hampering the U.S. economy. A Citizens Against Legal Abuse study found that it was about $50 billion of annual output lost for the economy and about 450,000 jobs that are being cost. But when you think about, we need more energy production, we want to bring oil prices down, we want to be able to do things like that, you can see what an impact this will have on American households as you see prices going up sometimes.
I want to go back to the year 1900 because I want to demonstrate something to folks here about how this works. Believe it or not, there are 18% less days over 90 degrees in America in the last 60 years than there were in the 60 years previous to that. So that's a 120-year period. It was just released, all the studies, all the numbers, you can't argue. The 1930s were the hottest, and yet one of the big ticket items that's been pushed by the left is climate change, global warming. We must do X, Y, and Z. And boy, we get pummeled with propaganda about this. Oh, the world's going to die. Polar bears are, going extinct, except their populations are actually rising. And it seems to me that China and Russia would benefit the most if America would put up windmills and solar panels as opposed to nuclear and fossil fuels, right? So I ask myself, and I have for years, who's paying that bill? That's just a pretty good example, isn't it?
Yeah, you're paying for it with higher electricity costs, if you were talking about electricity. Although I would say you want to increase output across the board. President Trump has a plan to double electricity output in America, I think, over the next few years, so that we want to see as much output as possible. We don't want China or Russia or other competitors or green activists or whoever these hedge funds are are getting the money from in order to hamper our own energy production. I think that it's really bad for America, and yeah, again, we're all paying for it. And
but my question is this: who's paying for the propaganda? China, Russia? I mean, these ads on social media, these ads on network television, targeting, and they all come under cute names like the Council to Save the World or whatever they come up with. It sound all very nice and all, but who's paying the advertising bill that's enriching these media companies?
Well, one thing that Congress is looking at is more disclosure, not necessarily for the ads, but for who's funding these lawsuits. And that's going to it's going to require or prohibit foreign party financing of these types of lawsuits. Or when it happens, it's something called the Litigation Transparency Act, would require parties of federal civil cases to disclose when outside financiers have a financial stake. This will do one of two things. Either they're going to stop funding these lawsuits because they're going to say, they can find out who the real parties are. But I say under the Sixth Amendment, you have a right to meet your accusers. And
That's
these
right.
energy companies, these companies, whether you're manufacturing or in energy, they don't have a right to find out who's suing them or really why. And the American people don't know, and the judge doesn't even really get to look at it. It's a lot of shell companies that are doing this, and it's coming from hedge funds. We want to know who's doing it, and so does Congress. And Republicans got pretty good legislation on this. So Americans for Limited Government is definitely supporting that.
Let me give you an example from a headline from just yesterday. Federal grand jury subpoenas target a left-wing megadonor. It's Neville Roy Singham. China-based Democratic donor may be illegally using tax-exempt U.S. nonprofits to secretly fund and coordinate domestic unrest, raising questions about foreign influence and the misuse of charitable status. This is one of the mechanisms. This is one of the channels they use, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be a lot easier to I think, to get to the bottom of this. But yes, that is a channel. You can take money from the hedge fund and make a donation either to like a nonprofit like that, or in the case of these shell companies going into like LLCs who will then sue the energy or manufacturing company and prevent them from moving forward with their projects, which is, just holding America back. We want to be the innovator of the world. We want to have the best technology in the world. President Trump is dedicated to bringing manufacturing back to the United States. I mean, you couldn't have it precariously, all the chip manufacturing, for example, located in Taiwan, which China could invade any minute. You want to have as much of this production coming back to the United States so that we can be a strong country who has capacity to fight wars or have enough energy to, I mean, particularly for national security, but also for our own prosperity. And the American people want to see prices come down. So I think it all plays together.
Yeah. It's time to look at people like Neville Roy Singham, George Soros, the nonprofits, the NGOs, all of these things that are operating to undermine America. And again, the money, Neville Roy Singham is a billionaire who made his money in America but now lives in China and directs his money to attack the very idea of America. And it happens every day. And I go back to the big networks, NBC, ABC, CBS. They make big money off from this. So do the social media companies, because they get money to promote these narratives that are anti-American. And then they'll say, well, it's protected by the First Amendment. It might be, but it's not protected by common sense and decency. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd say with these lawsuits that maybe the advertising, it's a visible aspect of it, but I'd say that these lawsuits are really a huge problem, and that's why Congress, I think, with this legislation, is definitely going to be able to get to the bottom of who's funding this attack on American energy production, on our manufacturing capacity, on our tech sectors, and so on. I think that getting to that is really, why are they in our courtrooms? It's like, well, they want to say stuff on TV or whatever. It's like that would be a different issue, and probably more difficult for Congress to get to because of the First Amendment. But when you're talking about foreign influence into our economy or potential antitrust, if it's coming from competitors, I think that Congress has a vested interest in that and protecting the American people and our economy.
I think Congress might have a root here. I mean, they're working to make sure that foreign money doesn't influence elections. Of course it does. But as you pursue that and ferret that out, you can ferret out the messengers and the people footing the bill for those messages all the way through. Robert, greatly appreciate you being here. At least the Republicans are starting to figure out how to use the courts to their advantage, and conservatives too. Thank you for the conversation. It's been a good one.
You too. Take care.
Really appreciate it. All right. We'll take a break. We're going to talk about your health and your good health and how to look good. Yeah, how to look good. It's never been more important than it is today. Today's going to be the best day of your life because you're going to look better and feel better. I'll be back after this. All right, welcome back to it. Red light therapy. We've talked about it here for years, really, because we use it in this house. And today there's some real news on it. So before anything else, let me bring in my personal health coach. That, of course, is Ivy. Ivy, good morning.
Good morning.
You use the red light therapy more consistently than I do, but you use it all the time. What's the latest?
Well, for me, last week you were sent to D.C., okay?
Yeah, that's right.
And Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I hit the gym every day by myself.
Sorry about that.
Which was brutal. But after, by Thursday, I'm like extremely sore, and I'm going, wait a minute, I'm not laying on my on my red light therapy mat. So I started doing that, and within a couple days, I really felt a lot better. But I always try to encourage ways to increase the way that how you feel. You feel good. What are you eating? What are you drinking? What are you doing? Including using red light therapy, and that is a very good way to make yourself feel better each day.
You know, one of the things about you, Ivy, is that people say, well, she's, really young because you use, it's true,
Yeah,
but
so
you
true.
use that red light therapy mask all the
25
time.
years old. I'm like, oh, Lordy, that's so nice of you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's true.
But yes, red light therapy mask, the extra strong version of mask is what I use.
And it's great for Halloween, too, so let's not forget
Well,
that.
yeah, because oftentimes if you're walking in and you don't know I have it on, you're like, oh.
You've scared me a couple of times. Anyhow, Rob Renee is the founder of Exodus Strong. He built the mask, the full body mat, the wand, and all of it. Rob, welcome to the program. Nice to see you. Yes, Ivy looks younger than she is. She went to the gym by herself. It's all true. I skipped out on the gym because I was in D.C. But I hear listeners kind of got their way with you. They broke through. They emailed you. They begged. They promised. They made deals with the devil. What do you know, Rob?
Oh, my goodness.
Well, it's just so much fun because literally, Ivy, everything you just said, spot on. You're doing it exactly right? And here's a simple picture for everyone listening, right? What the mask does for your face, the full body mat does for head to toe. So that same red and near infrared light, the 660 and 850 nanometers, working at the level of your mitochondria. That's your energy system. So people use it for recovery, like you did, a muscle soreness after a workout. But it's great for your skin and just to wind down at night, 15 or 20 minutes, like this laying down. That's the whole routine. So it's pretty awesome. And Steve, like you said, my favorite part of the whole thing is what customers write back to us.
Absolutely.
So I brought 3 this morning to you that I thought were really impactful. So the first one's from a listener named Erickson, who found us through the show and ordered the exact kit we're talking about today. The review reads, very relaxing. Really look forward to using my mat every evening. It helps me fall asleep. So that's every evening, Steve. It just becomes part of their day. It's the best part of their day. The second is from Sharon. She and her husband got the complete kit in June. She wrote, we've been using everything we receive and we can see results already. And the last one, it's the shortest review we've ever received. It's just 4 words from a customer named Catherine. And I promise you, I didn't write this, but it's energy and holiness abound.
That's
Boom,
great.
right?
I love
That's
that.
who the whole community is, right? Real people, 20 minutes a night, telling it better than I ever could.
Yeah. Energy and holiness abound. It's kind of hard to get the best review ever.
And I'm all about efficiency, Steve and Rob. So as you know, Steve, I'll put the mat down on the bed at night, and I'll put my mask on. So we get all this stuff done at the same time, 20 minutes, right before I head to bed. And that is the best way for me to do it. And it really does make a big difference. Actually, I was super busy last week and the week before, wrapping up a bunch of projects. And I had recognized, and I'm like, man, my face is breaking out. I know I'm super stressed. I haven't been using my mask as often. So it is a good way to fight acne as well, fight fine lines and aging for the face mask. It's just such a good way to go. And, in a world that I feel like we just always reach for a new pharmaceutical fix or another injection, I think this is a great way that it is just a natural at-home remedy that you can do every day, and it is so good for you.
Yeah, there you go. I can't do any better than that, Rob. She is living proof that red light therapy is the key to health, energy. Again, she looks young and wonderful. You look beautiful, Ivy.
Thank you, Steve.
You got that.
She sure does.
Yeah. So when we say that the viewers won, you got a special offer for them this morning, Rob. Tell us what it is.
Yeah, so here's the news, Steve. It's like you guys asked, right? The customers asked, and we listened. This wand is really popular, so what we did, we put it back into the bundle, right? Back in May, we included it, this targeted therapy wand with the bundle. It's amazing. You could just use it for 5 minutes, and it really helps targeted areas. And so we put it back into the bundle, and people loved it. So we took it out, but then we put it back in for this. So it's exciting. It's back in the box, and we're keeping the digital vault in there too. But here's everything that we're including, like that full body mat. It's so big, right? It's right here. It's just ginormous. It's 6 feet tall. It's almost 6 feet. I think one's 1 inch short of 6 feet tall. We get the frequency relief card, which is our total differentiator. It's different than any other red light therapy solution on the market. We include the Exodus supplement, right? This Exodus supplement is amazing. It's got 7 biblical herbs and the molecular hydrogen that you've heard about, and that's really good for cleaning out the blood inside. So the mat helps, and the red light helps on the outside. The supplement helps on the inside of the blood. And then we include this amazing face mask. This face mask is awesome.
I'm familiar.
This is a really nice box that comes.
I know what that
in.
looks like. Yeah, I see that one a lot, Rob. All right, so I got to make sure.
I love it, though.
Got to make sure we get this in. That's about $1,500 worth of gear to help you feel better, look better, get rid of soreness, sleep better. Today for Daybreak listeners, $597. $597. You can't beat that, Rob. I mean, it's a pretty special deal. All you have to do is go to exodusstrong.com/Gruber. exodusstrong.com/Gruber. Rob Renee. Great products. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, we're excited about it. We only have 40 of that whole bundle together that we're able to acquire for this particular show. So, and then the first 10 orders become founding members of Exodus, and we'll explain the details on the page. But yeah, just exodusstrong.com/Gruber. It's only $597 for a $1,500 worth of value.
Gotta leave it right there,
I
Rob.
love it.
God bless America. We'll be right back.
Yeah, God bless.
I don't know if this changes any of the conversations, but it's to me, it's the right thing. ICE officers are going to wear cameras, body cameras, like other police officers. And they probably, why wouldn't they? They should. Tom Homan making that announcement that these ICE officers are going to wear body cams, especially during traffic stops. As you know, a couple of people have been killed recently in confrontations with ICE officers. Of course, these are illegal aliens, many of whom are not complying to what they're told to do. Meanwhile, something else that's very big we'll talk about more in the days to come. Something like 40,000 CDL licenses have been suspended now by Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. These are people that got licenses who couldn't read road signs. And then you had these driving schools who are making piles of money giving out these CDLs that were self-certifying. I mean, come on. You're getting people killed yourselves. Oh, yeah, they're good to go. Pay us your money. Here, we'll take your tuition or whatever. Here's your fee. Here's your license. But they're from countries that don't speak English. They don't speak English. They don't read the road signs. It's insane. Back to the body cameras, though. Look, the best way to protect the officer from blowback and accusations is to have a body camera. I have no problem with this at all. But here's the funny thing. Body cameras were part of the budget months ago. Why are they delayed? Because the Democrats shut down the government for weeks, including the Department of Homeland Security, which meant the cameras didn't get ordered. They didn't have the money to order the cameras to get them into the system to get them moving. So Democrats shut down the government, slow down payments, and then complain that ICE still doesn't have body cameras. Well, they would, genius. They would, if you hadn't played political games. But that's how it's played. And, of course, then the networks go out and blame the Republicans for the behavior of the Democrats, slowing it all down. But the cameras are coming. That's good news. I think it's the right thing. And it's just another day in Washington. Yeah. It's another day at daybreak. I'll be back after this.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now on Real America's Voice.
All right, let's jump right into it. Three big things this hour for you to consider. Number one, the massive fires. More than 850 wildfires in Canada have wreaked havoc with air quality from Minnesota across the Great Lakes all the way to D.C. and New York. Can anything be done about it? That's the question people are asking. Number two, it is remarkable. The media, nearly all the major networks, Fox News included, giving almost no coverage at all to 220 million voter files being hacked by China. Lying by omission is still lying. My mother taught me that. And number three, so I slid into the rally for Abdul El Sayed in Lansing yesterday. It was just a lot smaller than I expected. 1,200 people, according to the security guy I was talking to, but outside quiet. No big rallies, no celebrations. And the rally featured Bernie Sanders and AOC. I found it honestly a bit odd. Ivy's here with me this morning. Ivy, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I took videos. I'm walking down the street at the convention center in Lansing. Mm-hmm. It's dead quiet. And there's a...
Well, I found it interesting because Bernie Sanders said it was standing room only.
Well...
was it standing room only?
He may have exaggerated a wee bit.
No.
Yeah. Toward the end, by the time he took the stage, it was, most of the seats were filled, but not all of them. And it was not like they were packed to the walls, not at all. Mm-hmm. And so it seemed odd because...
Actually...
Across the street, there was a minor league baseball game, the Lansing Lugnuts, playing a game. Their attendance, according to Brock, was a couple thousand. So they had twice as many people at the Lugnuts game as they had at the rally featuring Bernie Sanders and AOC. It just seemed odd to me.
Well, I think it's interesting because what they will have you believe is that they're so popular that there's lines down the street.
Nothing like that.
And especially because that Lansing is a pretty liberal town, and the neighboring towns are very liberal. So I found that very surprising.
Right, there's 500,000 people that live right there in the neighborhood, if you will, and so they've got merch carts out front too. Merch carts. And there's some guy with his anti-Trump stickers and throw ICE out, defund the police buttons and different stuff. Nobody. Not a single person talking to him. You go to some of these Republican deals, they're selling Trump merch, they're selling all sorts of stuff.
Someone's buying something at every stand.
Yeah, I want to share a couple of things with you because I think that the Democrats, look, the radicals showed up. I mean, it was, a crowd who you could predict, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine what you would see. But the Democrats themselves have lost the script. How do I know? Listen to Bill Maher here. I want you to hear Bill Maher, a lifelong Democrat. Listen to this.
I mean, you get some Democrats.
Democrats are cowardly.
Yeah.
They're cowardly. Their party is being taken over now by, every day I hear about a new, very radical. I feel very good about, like 10 whenever years ago, like I did lose fans because, I wasn't going to go along with some of this crazy stuff on the left, too. I didn't change really on what I thought about the right, but I can't sit and just not notice stuff, which people seem to want to do because it's all about my team or your team. But, there's some crazy stuff. When we're cheering for the Intifada, I gotta cut, I'm out.
Well, I don't know if you saw Jay Clayton.
I'm out, he says. But Ivy, one more thing. How out is Bill Maher? Listen to this.
Could you see yourself voting for J.D. Vance?
Yes.
What?
If this is the Democratic side, yes.
What?
Wow.
Bill Maher's a J.D. voter. If this is who the Democrats are going to be, I knew you'd love that.
Well, I know he recently was on, J.D., the vice president, was on the show with him.
He was.
Probably liked what he had to say. J.D. is a very personable,
normal,
well-spoken, down-to-earth guy. And he's
normal.
Like, hey, I can vote with this.
Right, but he can't vote for the Intifada. He can't vote with,
the
Hamas.
Communists
or the communists.
All
right.
of your freedoms away and say that we're giving you everything for free, and nothing is for free. Just take a little look at Venezuela if you want to.
Yeah.
Take it's
all
what
free.
Could come to America in the future if we continue to give away our freedoms.
Yeah. Anyhow,
think that we should get universal health care or free housing or everything that the
free health care, free housing, free daycare, free food, free transportation, free. I mean, that's what they promised in New York City.
Yeah.
Of course, they're broke.
Exactly. Because
Oh,
it's
it is.
working so well. So one of the things, we watched when you were in D.C. for this information that the president released last week. And I found it interesting. I don't know if you've spoken much about this, and if you have, forgive me. But the new report is talking about how these military families or individuals, when they go and they are overseas, that China knows where they are based on if they are receiving, like
Well,
their
they're
mail-in
changing
ballots.
their vote. I haven't talked about that. It's a great
So
point
I
you
want to
make.
run through it really quickly. According to Just the News, Chinese entities allegedly obtained U.S. voter registration files that included information on Americans serving overseas.
Correct.
While voter registration records are generally public in many states, the report says that files also contain more sensitive personal information, including dates of birth. Military members voting under the Uniformed and Overseas Citizens Absentee Voting Act often receive absentee ballots while stationed overseas. The concern is that ballot delivery addresses could provide clues about where certain service members are deployed or operating. Hello, all of a sudden you have all of these service members in different areas in the world, and the Chinese government, the CCP are going, oh, what's happening over here? Let's go do some investigation.
Right.
Oh, what's happening over here? Let's go do some investigation. This is a very, very frightening to me, Steve. What do you think?
Well, I agree with that because if you see a group of operators, and maybe they're operators, being special services and special forces, are being moved to the Middle East or to South America or to the North Pole, whatever it might be.
Wherever.
Because they're following the voter rules, especially in an election year like this. Clearly, that's a problem. And, at the top of the program today, in case you missed it, I played all these Democrats who for years said, look, we're vulnerable to voter files being hacked by Russia and China and Iran and North Korea. It was a big problem for all these people until Trump says it, at which point it's the most secure election in history. No, it's not.
No, it's actually the least secure.
Yeah, no, it's not.
That provided.
2020 was the least secure election in American history because of a couple of things. Mass mail-in ballots and computers that are not trustworthy that can be hacked and accessed remotely, which the Democrats knew and talked about for years. But as soon as Trump says it, well, then it's garbage.
Exactly.
It's insane.
It is insane. Can we just be honest with the American people?
We can be.
I mean, we can be, but can they? And for the benefit of us all, I mean, you would think that they would. Of course, I think they want to cheat, so therefore maybe that's why they don't care. But I do have an interesting story. We talked about, you were in
D.C.
You were in Montana when you helped and witnessed. Who was it? The T-Rex that you saw get unearthed.
Big Mike.
Big Mike. So just a few days ago, I don't know if you saw this, but if you have an extra $50 million lying around, you could have gotten a new the
T-Rex for the home
skeleton, a 67 million-year-old T-Rex named Gus. Was the most expensive dinosaur ever sold at auction. The most.
I think I saw it 50.1 million through Sotheby's. So let me ask you, what did you do in life? You've got an extra $50 million for a statue in the front. It's remarkable. Anyhow, I got to run.
Whatever you did, good for you.
Good for you. The American dream includes a T-Rex in the front room.
That's right. Love you, Steve.
Love you too. Yeah, $50.1 million. Sotheby's. Remarkable. All right, let's continue to dig into what the mainstream media wants to ignore, which is the obvious evidence that China intervened and got into our election databases in at least 18 different states, including states like Alaska, where you think the senator up there, Lisa Murkowski, might have an interest in the fact that China got into their databases and support the Save America Act, which at this point is probably too late to really impact properly the midterm elections. But look, it's clear China has looked at our rolls. They've manipulated things. This is all things that Democrats talked about and believed until Trump said it, which is bizarre. One of the things that Trump's now focusing on, he spent a lot of time talking about Michigan, but Georgia, clearly a concern. Stephen Risher is a former Maricopa County recorder, legal fellow of the Cato Robert Levi Center for Constitutional Studies at Cato Institute. Sir, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
So all of the states that were questioned in 2020 are back in focus. Michigan, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Arizona, because these are the places where, strangely enough, people just stopped counting votes in the middle of the night. All at the same time. It's the strangest thing, but in retrospect, it's not strange at all. What do you think about what Trump said on Thursday?
Yeah, well, I contest the premise a little bit, but
contest what premise?
I think that the stop counting the votes. For instance, in Arizona, the president was behind by a good deal, and then they continued to count, and it came very close, and it came within 11,000 votes. And unfortunately, the president wasn't able to cross the finish line here in Arizona. But
that was certainly not the case in Georgia and Michigan, where they stopped counting at the TCF Center in Detroit. They covered the windows so nobody could look. They prevented Republicans from observing, and nobody believes, I don't think you do either, Stephen, that Joe Biden got 81 million votes. You don't believe that, do you?
Yeah, well, I absolutely do. Every single court case, every single post-election audit has substantiated that. And importantly, the president himself wasn't contesting the 2020 election.
You believe that Joe Biden got 81 million votes, 5 or 6 million more than any candidate in American history? I mean, they all run it pretty evenly. Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely. Again, I think the burden of proof is on those who are substantiating.
Well, how many of the election cases? How many of those court cases ever got to discovery? How many?
A good few.
No, they did not. A good few. Name one.
Well, for instance, here in Arizona.
Maybe.
In Arizona, I was part of the litigation, yes. And so they got to discovery. We did things like review signature verification, review ballot duplication. But, turning to the president's speech on Thursday.
No, hold on. Because I want to make sure I'm clear on this. Because in 2018, 19, 20, Kamala Harris, Swalwell.
Well,
the list goes on and on. People
Biden
on the Democrat side who said that our elections were incredibly vulnerable. The machines were vulnerable, could be manipulated. And that countries like China, Russia, Iran, North Korea could get into our elections. Hillary Clinton said it. I mean, the Democrats said it one after another. Were they lying?
A lot of this stems from somebody like Stacey Abrams in Georgia, who's a Democrat, and she was the Democratic nominee in 2018. She was the Democratic nominee in 2020. She lost to Brian Kemp twice, and she certainly ran her mouth about this. But in the United States, we have paper ballots, which is very important. Because why is paper important? And the president emphasized this on Thursday, because we have an auditable, unhackable chain of custody, and we can do post-election audits with paper. And that's why Republicans love paper, and that's why ballot security professionals love paper.
It's what Hillary Clinton advocated and Kamala Harris until Donald Trump said it, at which point they said the 2020 election was the most secure in history. Do you believe that?
Do I believe? I don't like getting into which election is more secure than others. I think that
what establishes credibility.
Yeah, I think over the history of the United States, we have a rich history of both election disenfranchisement, election fraud in the history of this country.
Yes, we do.
I think we're doing far. I'm sorry?
We do, yeah. Chicago, Louisiana, I mean, the list goes on.
Well, even as recently as LBJ's presidential election and with respect to Texas, and then, of course, up until the 1960s and 1970s, people were simply kept from voting in various states and for various reasons. And so I think the trajectory is getting better and better. And if we look at where we were in 2000, in prompting the 2000 presidential election, Then we had the Help America Vote Act. We invested a lot in election infrastructure, and I think we're doing better. And for instance, more states are doing things like post-election audits, which are very good things. And I think there's something that the president emphasized in his speech on Thursday night. And again, going back to that, why do we have paper ballots? We have paper ballots because we know that countries like China, like Russia, are interested in interfering and influencing American elections. And the president produced. Correct. And the president produced a bit of evidence on Thursday night that was posted to the website of both Chinese and Russian and Iranian influence on our elections, doing things like even putting bots onto social media platforms to try and sow discord or China wanted to discredit the president. Russia wanted to discredit Joe Biden. We know that these countries care about the United States.
How do we feel about voter ID? I mean, America loves it.
Personally?
Yeah.
Yeah, voter identification is something I certainly support. About 80% of the country supports voter identification of some variety. Now, the devil is in the details a little bit. What are we talking about when we talk about mail voting, for instance? Do you have to photocopy your identification?
Got to do
and put it in
something.
your mail
Well,
ballot?
to be honest with you, there should be no mail-in ballots like we have it. That everybody knows that mail-in ballots are ripe for fraud, which is why it's not used extensively in other countries. I mean, everybody knows that. It's a simple thing, Stephen. I got to leave it there. Greatly appreciate you coming on. I don't believe Joe Biden got 81 million votes, but to each their own. Everything else makes sense. Paper ballots are the answer, and post-election audits are the answer. Those things we agree on. I appreciate you being here.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, sir. All right, we got to go to a break here. It's Daybreak. Appreciate seeing you on a Monday. All right, so continuing the conversation of just a moment ago, President Donald Trump Thursday, as you know, released a trove of declassified intelligence documents, newly declassified. The networks are trying to say it's nothing new here. Well, that's not accurate. It is something new here, and it is information we have not had before. And one of the things that is terribly clear, the intelligence community hid information about election problems from the president. They lied by omission. They kept things from the president so that he couldn't act on them leading up to the election of 2020. And Republican pressure is now mounting to prosecute and fire the intel officials who hid election issues from Trump. If we don't start hearing about people getting pushed out, dismissed, prosecuted this week, it's a problem. Right now. That speech was Thursday. Who's been fired? Who's been put in front of a grand jury to say you manipulated information? Who are the people that went after the whistleblowers? Who are they? We need action. We need it this week. Period. AMAC exists for one reason, to fight for you like I do. While organizations like AARP grow closer to big government, AMAC is growing stronger in Washington to defend the values that made America great: faith, family, and freedom, and opportunity. AMAC believes in these things: freedom of religion and speech, the right to keep and bear arms, free enterprise and personal responsibility, common sense solutions instead of government control. And AMAC refuses to stand by while radical policies from blue states threaten our families, our livelihoods, our safety, and our future. AMAC is no longer just an alternative to AARP. They are the leading conservative voice for seniors and patriotic Americans. With the rapidly expanding presence in Washington, AMAC standing toe-to-toe with AARP's massive lobbying machine and winning. Join AMAC today. Help us replace failed big government policies with common sense pro-America solutions. America needs AMAC. AMAC needs you. Just go to amac.us/RAV. amac.us/RAV. Do that today. I'm an AMAC member. Plus, you get discounts. Hey, nothing wrong with that. I'll be back. All right, back to it now. 9 straight nights of attacks from the United States on Iran. Iran returning fire to places like Kuwait, Jordan, Iraq. 4 U.S. service members died over the weekend. The first members of the U.S. military to die since the 1st of March this year in this conflict with Iran. So we're now at 17. The Iranians also targeted Kuwaiti's desalinization plant. 90% of the water in Kuwait comes from the desalinization plants, and so that's a pretty devastating hit. Major General Dennis J. Leitch, retired, of course, is retired U.S. Army Reserve two-star general, joining me to sort this out. General, nice to see you this morning.
Good to be with you. Thanks.
All right, just give me your assessment of the recent activity over the last 9 days. Where are we in this fight?
I would say it's a disaster. It's we don't have any clear options. The Iranians are not going to roll over, and we have a history of thinking that air operations and bombings going back to Vietnam can break a country, but it hasn't worked since Vietnam, and it won't work here, I don't think.
So what is the solution? Obviously, Iran has targeted the United States for 50 years. I remember watching the hostages get paraded around when I was in middle school. Pretty embarrassing, frankly. They've enriched Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, Al-Shabaab in Africa, and continue to supply, at the expense of their own people. They would spend money on all these operations in Lebanon or Africa or wherever. So if not this solution, and if Iran was on the verge of a nuclear weapon, what was the solution?
I don't think there's clear evidence that Iran was on the verge of a nuclear weapon, but whether they were or not, this approach isn't going to work. I don't think it creates pressure throughout the world. It's not only the cost of the war to the American people, but the American people also, as of 2 weeks ago, suffered about $40 billion of excess or additional expenditure for gasoline. It has the same effect throughout the world, so it's not an easy situation. It's a complex situation.
But to use gasoline as an example of the problem, I mean, inflation was 9.5% under Joe Biden, and gasoline was over $5 a gallon, and there was no war at all. So, that's a temporary issue, and not one that really. I don't think it's as detrimental as some would say, and I don't think it's as good as some would say. So, that off the table. What is the solution to peace in the Middle East then? If not taking Iran out, Iran, by all measures, is the country that wants to dominate the Middle East. We've had wars in the Middle East my entire life. Much of it goes back to Iran. Much of it goes back to Israel and the fights with the Arab neighbors. How do you solve it? Or do you just leave?
I don't know. I don't think we can solve it, but I don't think we can leave either.
Then we just continue in the same path, and then there's no solution.
No, I think we have to have some diplomacy here. I think we have to have some professionals involved in diplomacy, and Jared Kushner and his real estate pal.
But diplomacy doesn't work with Iran. It didn't work for Republicans. It doesn't work for Democrats. The Iranian regime does one thing well: it lies. I mean, come on, General.
Well, hang on. Before we indict the Iranians for being not trustworthy, we needed to go back to 1953, when the United States and Britain overthrew the elected government of Iran, installed the Shah to 1979. The Shah was just as brutal as the Saddam Hussein, and now we had the JCPOA place, and
the Shah was not a good leader. I'll grant you that. Go on.
Okay, so we say that the Iran can't be trusted. We have some indictments in the United States. In the United States, overthrew the government and then tore up the JCPOA, which was working.
Well, not according to the intelligence community in the administration here. Now, it's obvious you have a particular political stand. I get that, and that's fine. But you still haven't offered me a solution. And I don't think the JCPOA was working. I don't think that anybody trusts the Iranian regime at their word. In delivering them billions of dollars, I don't think that was a successful negotiating tactic. Millions don't. So we're on two opposite sides of this. But again, I ask you, what's the solution for peace in the Middle East? You say we shouldn't be involved with Iran, but we can't leave. That sounds like a quagmire to me.
Perhaps it could be a quagmire. It could be a quagmire, and
your solution is a quagmire.
No, it's a quagmire that we created.
We created the problem in the Middle
East.
East? Now, hold on.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about just Iran. I'm talking about my entire lifetime here, General. I've watched wars for my entire life.
At the end of February, the Straits of Hormuz were wide open. Ships were passing all the time, and now it's closed.
And Iran was building missiles that could reach London and Paris and Berlin. I mean, we know that because they went after Diego Garcia. We know how far their missiles reach, and so that would have been an okay solution for you.
Yes.
Iran having missiles that could reach London is an acceptable outcome for you.
Yeah, I think that what right do we have to say what they can or cannot have? I mean, we're the only ones that have ever used a nuclear device.
Okay, General, look, I don't know what's in your coffee, but giving Iran the right to have, allowing Iran to have missiles that reach London, Berlin, and Paris is insane. And suggesting that it's okay and we have no right to protect people is insane. We've protected people for close to 250 years, more so in the last 100 years. What right did we have to go in and stop Germany? I mean, by that logic.
I mean, Germany presented a threat to the world.
And Iran presents a threat to Americans, be it Beirut, the hostages, the USS Cole. The list goes on.
Look what we've done. Look what we've done in the Middle East. We've created a Gaza genocide. We've aligned with Israel.
Excuse me, a genocide.
Yeah, absolutely.
General, you got to stop watching CNN so much. Honestly, it's been a good conversation, though, sir. I appreciate you being here, but it's clear you have an agenda that is not aligned with reality. But thank you, sir, for being here. Greatly appreciated. I got to run. Thank you very much. All right, I'll take your emails. SteveGruber.com. SteveGruber.com. Happy to hear what you have to say. But when you say that Iran has the right to have missiles that reach Paris, Berlin, London, I'm sorry, that's insane. That's not credible. That is just absolutely bonkers. And at that point in the conversation, I think I'd had my fill. So it is. Anyhow, I'd like to hear what you have to say about it. You can get in the chat at YouTube, follow for free, chat at Getter, other places, or an email at stevegruber.com. Cheers. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back to it. It's Monday. Threading the needle on a Monday, back from D.C., as you know. So that's a strange enough place, and this place has turned a little odd, too. Let's keep up with the Monday mentality, shall we? My next guest is Indy Peterson, author of Sacrificing Humanity, the UFO as a Portent of Nuclear War. Portent, I should say. Indy, welcome to the program.
Nice to have you. Nice to have you back.
Yeah, nice to be back. Nice to have you here. Elite billionaires are doomsday prepping. They've done this for my entire life, by the way. The biggest bomb shelters in the world are in places like Northern Virginia, Maryland, around D.C., the nicest, fanciest. It always made me wonder, what do they know that I don't? But what if they're prepping for something more than nuclear war? That's the question you ask here, Indy. What do you mean by that?
Well, I met a lot of billionaires when I was developing a resort project in Patagonia. I had a island property down there that when I bought it, the locals said it's a known UFO base. They warned me of that, and I laughed because I did not believe in UFOs because no one could get a decent picture of one. And they supposedly also travel light years and only to crash here. But with the recent disclosure movement, both of those things have been explained. The physicist Hal Puthoff explained that they're in their own space-time bubble. So the photography is attempting to go through that, which it can't very well. And so that's why all the images are blurry. And then the second explanation in terms of them crashing is because our military is intentionally knocking them out of the sky with EMP, electromagnetic pulse. So, which has been revealed in the Age of Disclosure film with a dozen of our top military people, which is rather shocking.
So what do you think the UFOs are? I mean, this is a conversation with all the releases of documents from the administration this time around, the videos we've seen. What are we dealing with? What is your belief, Indy? I mean, it's all out there on this Monday, so we might as well just jump right in. What do you believe?
Well, as I said, I did not believe in UFOs. It took a lot of convincing. First experience I had right across the narrow fjord from the island property of this known UFO base that they all warned me about, the locals. It's in distant Patagonia. There's nothing down there. And it's
red
an island
stags and trout. There's red stags and trout in Patagonia. Nice ones on both categories.
The best fishing in the world. That's
See, there
right.
you go. But
Hundreds
anyhow,
of rivers.
But so a known UFO base. This is what you were told.
That's what the locals warned me.
What do they shop at the local Walmart? I mean, how do they know that's a known base? I'm just asking for a friend.
Well, because they had way too many experiences coming out of the ocean there. Apparently, they come out of the ocean. But my first experience was with the largest cattle mutilation in South American history. And this is a very illustrative example, being that it's in Patagonia, so because I can disabuse all the other explanations that people might have of their theories of why it's not UFOs. The most common explanation as well, this is in the US, at least the ones that are happening mostly in Colorado, is, well, the US government's doing some testing on radiation on cows or biological testing. Well, that can be ruled out in Patagonia because the US military, in the 20 years I was working down there, everyone knew when they were there in the Valparaiso, 1,300 miles to the north. And, the guys would be in short haircuts in Starbucks drinking caramel macchiatos. So that wasn't one of the years they were there. And plus, even when they are there up in the port with their ships off the coast, that's 1,300 miles to the north. So that one's out. The Chilean military, well, they're massively underfunded and they don't have the budget, nor have I ever seen them in
But
that
hold
region.
on, India. I can't get too far into the weeds here. I need to know, do you believe in UFOs? And if so, where are they based? Are they out of this world or are they ocean-based? I've seen the videos of these pill-shaped things from U.S. military cameras going in and out of the ocean. What do you believe? Are they here?
Oh,
are
yeah,
they,
definitely.
are they earthlings? Let me put it that way, and not from out of this world.
I would surmise that they're from here, and they've been hiding for thousands of years in really remote places like down where I am.
Patagonia.
And
I mean, Patagonia is,
Antarctica
for
and other
anybody who
places.
doesn't know, Patagonia is in south end of South America and Argentina, primarily. A little bit in Chile, I guess, but primarily it's
Yeah, well,
Argentina.
it's both Chile and Argentina. The entire south of Chile and Argentina is Patagonia.
Right, but Chile's a very small, narrow country. Argentina's a big chunk of real estate. Anyhow, so are they, well, let me ask you, we only got a minute left. In your estimation, you believe they're ocean-based. Are they a threat to us? Is this what the billionaires are prepping for, some sort of alien takeover? And I don't mean the people from South America coming into America. I mean whatever these things are out of the ocean. Last word to you.
Well, I had quite a number of billionaires down looking at the island project, and one of them, the Morgan family, as in the Chase Bank, J.P. Morgan Chase Bank family fortune, and he was going to the island with me on a boat, and he kept on asking about caves. So he wasn't asking the normal questions that someone investing in a $60 million resort project would be asking. And I know those questions. And he kept on wanting to know where the caves on the islands are, because there's large caves on the island. And I got frustrated and I said, well, why are you so interested in caves? And he tilted his head back, looked heavenward up towards space, and in a very serious tone said, because we have a lot of friends returning.
Indy, I got to leave it right there. It's a good quote to leave it on. Real quickly, Indy Peterson, you can find with a D, Pederson. You can find the book, Sacrificing Humanity. Sir, I appreciate it. Fascinating conversation. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to get Sarah for all of this. Hey, go ahead, Anthony. You can play along too. It's fine. Can we get Sarah on the phone? Here. I'm going to call Sarah while you watch sports with Brock.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. Spain are the World Cup champions after defeating Argentina 1-0 yesterday in extra time in New Jersey's MetLife Stadium. Ferran Torres scored in the 106th minute to give the Spaniards the win. It's their first World Cup title since 2010. New Zealand's Ryan Fox birdied the 18th hole at Royal Birkdale in England to win the British Open and claim his first major title yesterday. Fox shot a final round 68 to defeat American Cam Young by one shot. Young, by the way, shot 64. Fellow American Sam Burns shot 2 over 72 to finish in third place, 2 shots back. A full schedule in Major League Baseball yesterday. American League winners included Boston, who won their 13th straight game, the Chicago White Sox and Seattle. National League winners included Atlanta, the Chicago Cubs, and the LA Dodgers. And in NASCAR, Joey Logano took the Window World 450 for his first win of the season. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
As you can imagine, it went to voicemail. Of course it did. Anyhow, it's been an entertaining day so far. I mean, why wouldn't it be? Look, too many people are in bubbles every day, right? They go to their echo chamber. They hear what they want to hear. The algorithm gives them only things they agree with. It's more fun. Anthony's having a ball. He said, you need to argue with more people. I said, it's fine with me. I mean, bring on the general with the gold teeth. You know, bring him out. And which aisle they find him in Walmart. Anyhow, and I don't disregard, by the way, the UFO stuff. I mean, and the fact of the matter is I don't know what to believe about it. Let me just say that. I don't know what to believe. I've seen the videos. No idea. Do you? Because if you know, then you're ahead of the rest of us. It's interesting to me and odd and worth prodding around in and, you know, see what you find out. Anyhow, don't forget to follow us on YouTube. And in fact, follow me on all the social media platforms. If you had yesterday, you'd have seen me at the El Sayed gathering with AOC and Bernie. Yeah, I do that sometimes, too. I go into enemy territory, behind enemy lines. Follow me on X, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can be a subscriber for free. It's the best deal all day. And you can see Forgotten America, the podcast with me and the lovely Ivy. All right? All right, I'm going to go find Sarah. I'll be right back.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now.
All right, and welcome back to it as we dive into this next hour of the program. It's been an interesting morning already. Love Mondays, no question about it. Glad to have you here on board. Three big things to know this hour. Number one, the war in Iran seems to be getting more intense. 9 days of bombing now. 4 members of the U.S. military killed, first since the 1st of March. Number two, America is being misled about the real rise of the far left. I'll tell you why. And number three, speaking of that, there's a split, a schism, as James Carville called it, in the Democrat Party. And what I mean by that is longtime Democrats like Bill Maher are saying they've had enough. And you heard Bill, if you didn't hear it, let me play this for you. Bill Maher, bite 5. This is the most telling bite I've heard from a lifelong Democrat in a long time. Listen to this.
Could you see yourself voting for J.D. Vance?
Yes. If this is the Democratic side, yes.
So Bill Maher would vote for J.D. Vance. You know, if this is where the Democrats are going, he's basically out of the party, right? And he's not the only one, of course. Let's go to bite number 6, because this is an incredibly important development, which I have been predicting for a long time. I've been telling you for a long time, John Fetterman is going to leave the Democrat Party. That doesn't mean he becomes a Republican. But John Fetterman is going to leave the Democrat Party because he thinks it's gone insane. The senator from Pennsylvania had this to say.
And if that becomes the Democratic platform, that we will now ever vote for any aid and will turn our back on Israel, then that makes me to make that decision as really what a Democrat should stand for, or being a part of my party for me. Now, you know, Jake, I've said this, that if I changed my party spontaneously right now, my views and my votes aren't going to change. It's really more of a statement how, and if you look at the kind of people that are winning our primaries, their centerpieces of their campaign is anti-Israel kinds of rhetoric, whether it's in my state or it's whether in New York City and what's happening in Colorado now too. If you believe the Democratic Party's future is rooted in describing Israel as apartheid state or genocidal, and they don't deserve to have our support, that forces me to say, is this really make sense for me as a Democrat with these views are continue to actually intensify?
Let's turn.
Pretty important stuff there. When you've got a slim majority, 53-47 for the Republicans in the Senate, right? If John Fetterman were to leave the Democrat Party, he'll still vote with Democrats most of the time. But on certain big issues, he will not. Let me give you an example. Bite number 9, Anthony. Listen to this.
Do you worry at all that this war is now escalating into a wider war? Do you have any questions about the president's war strategy?
I think it's incredibly important to confront Iran and to confront Iran with their ambitions, specifically the nuclear ambitions. Every single Democrat that I'm aware of says we must never let Iran build a nuclear bomb. And here we are again right now. Negotiations and all other kinds of strategies have been employed over the last 47 years, and they've been successful up to now. And so where I'm at, I think we're in an important point in our time, and I think it's entirely appropriate to continue to confront Iran.
Yeah, okay. There you have it. So, I mean, his views, his voting record doesn't support it, but his views seem to support the fact that he's more Republican than Democrat. And he said he hasn't changed, same as Bill Maher. Same as me, actually. People call you far right. You're this. No, I'm the same guy that I've always been. I'm no different today in my... I mean, I've come to different determinations about certain things. I don't support capital punishment, for example. When I was 20 years old, I did. Certain things have changed some, but the core of who I am has not changed. The narrative around me has changed. The polarity of politics has changed. The division, the divide, the hate, the people that refuse to even have conversations. Oh, I don't agree with you, therefore we cannot talk. Can't talk? It's the foundation of America. Robust arguments back and forth about politics or religion or sports teams or whatever. They're the foundation of America. The robust exchange of ideas, sometimes heated. Do you think the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia was a friendly place in 1787? I don't think so. And what about, here's a simple one that is just bizarre to me, and it still is bizarre. Democrats refuse to support voter ID, even though 80% plus of Americans, including 70% of Democrats, support voter ID. And here's Senator Mark Warner, Democrat, getting fact-checked in real time on ABC. Listen.
Now, I understand that you and I think every other Democrat oppose this so-called Save America Act, and there's a lot of reasons that you've put forward. But let me ask you very narrowly on the issue of photo ID, requiring photo ID to register to vote. Is this something that Democrats should get behind?
We have
80-some% of Americans, 71% of Democrats say they favor this?
You know what? In Virginia, we have voter ID and photo ID. I got to show my...
That's actually not the case. I mean, I'm a Virginia voter. You don't need to show a photo ID in Virginia. There are a wide range of things you can show for ID. And if you don't show one of those, you can sign an affidavit saying
sign an
attesting.
affidavit,
But so it's not required.
And those become ballots that, if you want to contest later, can be contested. But you do have a variety of documents. But we have voter ID of one form or another.
But should that be a national standard?
Of course it should. Wasn't that delicious, though? I'm actually a voter in Virginia. That's not true, Senator. You know, they don't expect to get fact-checked on ABC or CNN, and when they do, boy, it's kind of entertaining, isn't it? Yeah, I kind of enjoy that. It's summer, as you know, hot. Not real hot. I just saw the statistics. Going back 60 years from now, for the last 60 years, the number of 90-degree days is 18% less than it was the 60 years previous. So you go back to about 1905, and you come forward 120 years. 60-year block, 60-year block. We have less 90-degree days now than we had in the 60 years up to about 1965. Well, the summer sun is here, though, as we celebrate our 250th birthday. It's been great. Patriots Relief is celebrating because they say they've got CBD healing solutions for you at great prices. Get out, be active, but, you know, you can get sore, you can get worn out. So if you have anxiety or you're sore or you can't sleep, CBD has been shown to be wonderful for all these applications. Your bodies need to step up to the demands of summer. Patriots Relief CBD can assist in alleviating those aches and pains so you can enjoy your favorite activities and get on with it. Call Tim and his family at 877-230-1776 or visit patriotsrelief.com. Use that promo code Gruber for 40% off and free shipping when you order at patriotsrelief.com. 877-230-1776. Promo code is Gruber at checkout. patriotsrelief.com. 40% off, free shipping too. Apparently, the smoke was bad while I was in D.C. last week. And then on Friday and Saturday, just before I flew back out, it rolled in. I've been around big fires a number of times in my life. I used to cover them when I lived in Montana. So I've been to big fires in Montana and Wyoming. I flew with the National Guard. I've seen them up close. Crown fires and big fires and the Yellowstone fire of 1989. I was up front row for all of it. But what we're seeing in Canada right now, I think the last number I saw, more than 850 wildfires in Canada right now. So the question is, why is it so intense the last couple of years? Is it drought? Is it beetle kill? Maybe both? Unkept forests? Sam Davis is the CEO of Bridger Aerospace. They provide disaster response to aerial firefighting, special mission aviation, and wildland firefighting technology supported by in-house engineering and maintenance, repair, and overhaul services. So he knows what it's like to be on the front lines, too. Sam, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of fires up close, big ones out west back in a different life, but I'm quite experienced with them. But what I'm seeing in Canada, 850 fires, this amount of smoke that we're seeing, not something we see every year, and we've seen it like 3 or 4 years in a row now. This year, I think, being the worst of all so far. Why?
Yeah, it's a great question to ask, and you're right. The most recent years, we've seen this trend to increase, not only in the number of fires, the intensity of these fires, also covering the calendar year. I don't know if you remember, probably saw the headlines in 2023, where the Smokehouse Creek fire in Texas reached over 1 million acres in the month of February. Palisades fire was in January of last year, and that grabbed national headlines. And now we see, fires in Canada, and the number of fires is just astounding, let alone the fact that typically Canada's fire season starts a little bit earlier and usually wraps up earlier than ours does. So all of these happening all at once is definitely a trend that we see increasing every year. This year, Bridger, we're based out of Bozeman, Montana, which you're probably familiar with.
I used to live there.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place.
Yeah.
The smoke is just starting to roll in for us as well. But this year alone, we've flown from South Carolina to California. We're in Alaska, Texas.
But again, the question is why? Because here's the thing.
Yeah,
when I lived in Bozeman, it was the Yellowstone fire. I think it was 1989. 1.1 million acres of Yellowstone Park burned that season. And in Bozeman, roughly 90 to 100 miles away, we had ash falling like snowstorms. I mean, the ash was just coming down.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been there. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
I flew with the National Guard. I saw the fires up close. I saw a lot of different things. But to see it here in Michigan like this is unusual. We had a fire in 1881 in Michigan that burned 1 million acres in one day, called the Thumb Fire. Right. So big fires do happen, but still 850 fires at the same time in Canada, plus the ones around the country. Why this uptick? Is it beetle kill? I mean, people say it's climate change. I'm not buying that. I think there are other reasons. I think it's poor forest management, potentially. Beetle kill. What are your thoughts? You know best.
Yeah. So what I believe it is we have a fuels mitigation problem, right? Beetle kill is a big part of what we see happening in these old growth forests, and fuels do need to be treated. I read a statistic that we have over 100 million acres of federal lands that need to be treated. And we're only able to chip away at that at about 3 million or so a year with a lot of hard work. So that is continuing. The old growth is continuing to happen and not be treated at a pace that we can't keep up with it. So that contributes. It's hard to tell what increased temperatures or weather cycles can do to your point on climate change. But we do see trends of some of these last few years being hotter, and that is leading to lower snowpacks.
Hotter than they've been hotter than they've been in a few years, but not hotter historically speaking. Right.
Right.
And with lodgepole pine there in Montana, fire is how they regrow the forest because the pine cones don't open up to 125 degrees of heat. The fire takes them up on the thermals. They go downrange. They make new forests. So fire is part of the process, the cycle of life, if you will. So all fires are not bad. I mean, that's the problem. We had this mentality for many years in this country. Oh, must put out every fire. You don't want to put out every fire because if you do that, once a big one starts, you've allowed the fuel to build up,
Right.
And you
correct.
can't do
And
a
then
thing
it becomes
about
a
it.
mega fire.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't do a thing
It becomes
about
a
it.
mega fire. Yeah.
You know, I read that,
And,
that Canada only has 1,000 of these water bombers, or whatever you would call it, right? The big planes that drop. Only have 1,000. It's a giant country. I mean, you can never keep up.
Yeah, and actually, there's only about 150 Super Scoopers operating around the world. Bridger has 6 of them here in the U.S. We have 2 in Europe. So they're the only purpose-built aerial firefighting aircraft in the world, and very good at what they do. But
hold on,
scarcity
Sam.
is a big problem for us.
So let me get
Yeah.
this straight. While the world burns, you're just going back and forth to the bank because you got 6. Let's be honest, Sam. Business is good.
Yeah, we're an initial attack plane, so our response and being able to deploy everywhere is more important than ever. It's all we can do to keep up with the demand.
Yeah.
It's a definite threat. And my last comment, just real quick, is
Yes, sir.
the other reason this is so important and so amplified. We have more people moving into the wildland urban interface, the rural
100%.
areas where we interface with forests that never would have been a big issue had fire occurred as a natural part of the ecosystem. So that's increased 30 to 40% over the last decade.
You know,
and unfortunately,
I'll
we
take your
can't
point.
let those things happen. You know,
I'll take your point. You know, the natives, the Native Americans that lived in California would move to the beach every winter because they knew wildfires would come. The people in Malibu didn't move to the beach; their houses burned down. So yeah, we've moved into places, whether it's hurricanes, mudslides, mass fires.
Correct.
We've put people in these areas that previously have been unpopulated, and so you have this happen. Sam, enjoy Bozeman today. Nice to see you. Great
Yeah,
information.
thank you so much.
Probably have you back because it's nice to have people that know what they're talking about. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you. Have a good day.
No substitute for experience, my friends. None. Got to have experience to know what you're talking about. But business is good for Sam. He's going to the Range Rover dealer today to check it. I'm just kidding. We'll be right back on Daybreak. A lot going on today on a Monday, right? A lot going on this Monday. I want to make sure that you know there's a lot going on YouTube when it comes to Forgotten America. Yeah, don't ever want you to forget about Forgotten America because, well, it's there for you. I think we've got 22 episodes up now. 22 episodes. You can become a subscriber for free on YouTube. Ivy and I have conversations with all sorts of people, including UFO people, chemtrail people, people that are doing organic gardening, people that are talking about detransitioning. I mean, just a host of different conversations that you're just not going to find in other places. Just different stuff, off the beaten path, if you will, Forgotten America. Makes sense? And so we sit down, we have these conversations that usually last about an hour, some a little less and some a little bit more. Dr. Robert Redfield was a fascinating conversation, a guy who admits he was wrong about COVID. Great conversation. Susan Kokinda, who can diagram the elites all over the world playing games and creating wars and creating problems and election interference. She talks about all sorts of things. And these are all just terrific conversations that you don't find other places. And again, you can become a subscriber for free. It's right there. The QR code is on your screen. I think there's 21, 22 episodes. I lose track. We've been doing it for a while now. And we've got more to come. We're going to take a little recess during the summer here and retool for a new season starting this fall. But if you haven't caught these episodes, you need to catch up. Binge watch or listen in the car or on your favorite device. And you can become part of this educated family. And we're growing. We appreciate your support. We do, because we're growing all the time doing these conversations. It's good fun. Again, you can find that all at YouTube. Just look up Steve Gruber. Once you get there, you find the Forgotten America podcast. There they are. And you can also find One Nation there, the song that Ivy and I released back in June that went to number 6 on the Billboard charts, along with Laura Kokenauer, our good friend. All there for you. I mean, this is a resource. Keep digging, keep mining, keep following and hitting the like button. That's so. Take a break. We'll be right back. Remember the Alamo. That has been a cry in Texas for, well, a lot longer than I've been alive. My next guest says It's time to say it again. Chris Burgard is director of the documentary, Remember the Alamo, Don't Sharia My Texas. Chris, welcome to the program.
Steve, good to be had, sir.
Glad to have you here. So, the expansion of Sharia in Islam across Texas, pretty well documented. But, I mean, you go around Houston. How many mosques around Houston?
Well, Houston per se, I'm not sure. We've got, I think, about 373 in the whole state. You know, what really affected us, I live in East Texas, is they built 24 mosques and Islamic centers in the DFW area in 24 months. That's a mosque a month. And then they're spreading into East Texas. And East Texas is different from DFW. Out here, we've got the most political thing people are going to ask you is what church do you go to? Not do you go to church, but what church do you go to? So people out here are standing up, so it's kind of like a line in the sand in East Texas.
And what do you mean by that? Because people are going to say you're Islamophobic. They're going to say you're a bigot. I mean, you're going to get labeled, obviously.
Sure. So Steve, I didn't make an anti-Muslim movie. I made an anti-Sharia law movie. I had my life saved in Africa by a young Muslim ranger, Abdi, about 23 years ago. I would go anywhere in the world for Abdi. I love that man. But Abdi is not in Texas trying to replace the Constitution with Sharia law. Abdi is not in Texas shutting down streets by having massive amounts of military-aged men praying in the streets. That's not because there's not room in the mosque. That's because they're claiming the territory. When they're pushing halal food
So
on our
hold
kids.
on. So I've seen that on video. I've seen a couple of things. First of all, I've seen imams on social media saying, we're not here to assimilate, we're here to take over. I mean, paraphrasing, but that's basically what they say. And so when they're taking over streets, and I've seen this, and they just flood the streets and they're all praying in the streets, why does law enforcement allow that to continue? Or why do they have the call to prayer going off at 5 in the morning, which is disturbing the peace in any other city? I mean, you can't ring the church bells at 5 in the morning.
So that's also jihad. That's another form of jihad, just like pushing halal food on people. You have to understand what hijra is. Hijra is Arabic for immigration jihad. And the call to every perfect Muslim is to live the same life that the perfect Muslim did, which is Muhammad. Okay, so how did Muhammad go from Medina with just 130 some followers from Mecca and take over Medina? And he did it through immigration jihad. It's what you're seeing in Europe. It's what you're seeing here. Every time you see that is jihad. When they're praying in the streets, closing down the streets, they're pushing a test to power because the cops don't want to be called racist. People are afraid, this is America. We don't want to make fun of people with other religions or stand against them. But what all the clerics and all the moms do all across the world and here in Texas, what they know that most Americans don't is that Islam isn't a religion. Islam is a civilization. Islam is a complete political system, an oppressive political system that uses religion to get the camel's nose under the tent to come in. And as like you said, those imams in those videos, we're not here to coexist. We're here to take over. Now, that's something we have to be really careful of. We have wonderful Muslim people live in this country. They serve in the forces, in the military. They love this country, right? But to be a pious Muslim, you have to follow Sharia law. And Sharia law is the enemy of the Constitution. Sharia law cannot exist in the same civilization as constitutional law. So what we're facing here, especially in Texas, and they've targeted Texas big time, even though it's going on all around the country, because if they take down Texas, they can take down the whole country. It's just a fact.
So here's let's talk about,
standing up against.
And I want to point out the fact that Sharia law not compatible with the United States Constitution. This document that I always have right next to me, highlighted and worn out because I use it all the time, says we are guaranteed a Republican form of government. That's how the document reads. We are guaranteed. That is not compatible with Sharia law, and they don't care.
No, and the left always screams about separation of church and state. Guys, what you don't understand, under Sharia law, the church is the state.
Right. There is no separation of mosque and state. There isn't.
No.
And so what do you
Nope.
do to combat this? All right, look, they want to build 48 mosques in 48 months or whatever it is in East Texas. Okay. But you can't fill the streets. You can't do that. You can't take over and create Sharia courts. You can't do that. You can't. So, I mean, how do you combat it? How do you blunt it?
Well, that's what you'll see in the movie, Remember the Alamo, Don't Treat My Texas. I've been doing this a long time, Steve. I first ran into jihadis in Texas 19 years ago when the Sinaloa cartel was bringing them over through Hudspeth County in West Texas, very remote area. Then we ran into them again in South Texas. They're bringing them up through Falfurrias. So I've been doing this a long time, and here's what you're going to see in the movie. We ran into this in my daughter's school district about 11 years ago, and CARE came in, the Council on American Islamic Relations, and they bullied the school superintendent into pushing Sharia law on our kids. And they thought they were going to use that as precedent to go into the much bigger school districts. What they didn't understand was I lived in that school district. I'd been working with a task force out of DOD for several years on stopping the Muslim Brotherhood, because the Muslim Brotherhood's stated mission, and that's really who our main foe is here.
Right.
The Muslim Brotherhood's stated mission is to take down the United States from within. So what we did in our school, in our little cowboy town, is my buddy was the head of the school board. His family escaped for Iran, so he knew what was going on. So we rallied the churches together. We went to the town council meeting, explained what Sharia law was, explained what the Muslim Brotherhood's plan was, explained who CARE was, and we all came together. We went to school board meeting. The whole school district came together, and 5-0, Steve, the liberals and the conservatives came together 5-0 and overturned the decision that CARE had bullied these people into doing. And we kicked Sharia law out of the school district peacefully, just did it together. CARE came back. They said they were going to sue us. And our guys said, bring it on. We're ready for a good fight. And they realized they'd picked the wrong town, and they moved on. We're going to use that exact same strategy to win Texas. And then Texas is going to be an example for the rest of the country. I work with guys you're going to see in the movie. I work with a group called the Allied Special Intelligence Group. These are ex-military fellas that have been dealing with this for a long time. And they come in and they educate counties, towns, to recognize what the threat is, to see how the encroachment is, and how to stand up for the Constitution and clear that out of the way. Every county these guys have worked in, it's worked.
All right, Chris, here's what I need to know. Where can people find the film? How can they join your efforts? Real quick.
Please just go to rememberthealamomovie.com, rememberthealamomovie.com.
Chris, good conversation. You can come back anytime because I think it is incredibly important. I live in Michigan. Enough said. RememberTheAlamoMovie.com. I got to leave it there. You come back anytime.
Thank you, sir. God
Thank
bless
you. God bless you. All right, we'll take a break. Ivy's on her way in for a encore appearance after this. Look at stuff, but, you know. Oh, I do have something. Look at this. Oh. It's been a Monday, that's for sure. I've got a headline here for you, but I'm going to save it and see what. We're going to compare notes with Ivy first. Ivy, welcome back to this Monday rodeo.
Good morning. It's been an interesting one.
It's been an interesting conversation about a bunch of different things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we were watching the World Cup last night, and Spain won over Argentina.
Correct.
I found it pretty interesting that they bring in the fresh guy.
Who scores?
The guy off the bench who scores.
Yeah.
And I know it was an interesting match. What did you think? I've never really, I haven't generally ever watched soccer.
Neither have I.
But I did find it interesting.
I found it interesting enough, but also boring. And, it's like they're tremendous athletes. I'll give them that. They ran for 120 minutes.
Yeah.
It's too bad that the one guy got red carded or whatever, so that way it was basically a power play for Spain for the last 20 or 25 minutes, whatever it was. And they ended up scoring. They were the better team. They had
a bunch of shots on goal.
A bunch in
Argentina.
But am I going to run out and watch another soccer game? No.
But
no,
I'm glad
probably not.
a lot of it happened in the United States. It's good for the economy here. I
Yeah.
love the president giving out the medals at the end. That was cool.
That was cool.
Yeah.
And the best part is that people came here from all over the world and been told how dangerous America was, how dirty America was, how terrible. And they said, oh, America's great. Yeah, we knew that. we knew that, which is why everybody comes here.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so I think the best takeaway for me are the ambassadors, thousands and thousands of ambassadors that will now be going out across the world, spreading the joy of America to the rest of the world.
That's right. And then hopefully they'll be coming back, right?
Hopefully.
Putting some money back into our economy.
Well, heck, someone can come back as citizens if they come legally. I mean, I'm all for it. You come from another country, you're a good person, you love America, you see how glorious it is, you say, yeah, I want to be part of that, come on in.
Or come in with a work visa and spend some time here.
Whatever, right, as long as it's legal.
Absolutely. I did see, I don't know if you saw this, but Josh Kerr, he's a 27-year-old, he crushed the mile record.
He did?
Yes, so he ran the mile in 3 minutes, 42.66 seconds.
What?
An average
Has he been
speed,
drug tested?
He had an average speed of 16.2 miles per hour as he ran this. The British runner ran the fastest mile in history Saturday, clocking 3 minutes, as I just said, and the men's mile world record at the London Diamond League.
They're gonna put an asterisk on it.
Why?
Altitude? Oh no, altitude training. I guess they're not going to put a.
No.
I thought that he ran it at altitude. I misread the headline because now I'm looking it up.
Isn't that incredible? 3 minutes, 42 seconds.
Dude,
that is insane.
Silly.
And it's faster. What is it? Faster by something like 3 seconds.
Yeah, by something
It took
like
27 years to.
Actually, it's only
3:43.
3:43.
Is it 3 seconds?
1 second.
1 second.
3:43 to 3:42. But the fact that it was world news when the 4-minute mile was broken. World news. I mean, it was. And now we're this much faster. I mean, there is a point of you can only do so much with human ability. I mean,
Sure,
there's
but
not
that is pretty remarkable.
Is there a 3-minute mile out there?
Probably, maybe. Who knows?
I don't know.
30 seconds faster? Wow.
But Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mark in I think the 1950s. I'd have to look, but I think it's 1950s.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That was a British guy. This is a British guy. Those British people, apparently they figure out how to run fast, really.
Apparently.
I'm not sure I can run a mile in an hour. But
Oh, give yourself some credit. I bet you could do far better than that. You're a pretty in shape guy.
Anthony says he could drive a mile in 1 minute. I can do it in significantly less.
Well, I have something else to share with you, Steve.
All right.
The Federal Communications Commissions is preparing to vote on what could become one of the biggest challenges to television broadcasting in decades. The FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, has announced that the agency will vote on August 6th on a proposal to eliminate the longstanding 39% national television ownership cap. a rule that currently limits how much of the country a single broadcast company can reach through its local television stations.
Like Sinclair.
So what they're going to do is they're going to rule to end this cap, and he argues that broadcasters are competing against streaming services, social media platforms, and tech companies that can reach essentially
Everybody.
100% of the country.
Yeah.
So he does have an argument for this, but it also concerns me. To me, it seems a little bit like, private equity and just buying everything
Maybe,
up,
but
and then having.
here's the thing. Sinclair, which is a fairly conservative company
Mm-hmm.
that has fairly conservative local news in a lot of places, or more conservative than average,
Sure.
they're trying to get bigger, and they can't because they're maxed out.
Right. So in your eyes, you think that this could be a good ruling?
Who knows?
A good change in the rule?
Maybe. I mean,
I guess it really depends
I'm gonna
on
need more
who's-
details, but yeah.
It depends on who's controlling the television stations,
But
I
the
guess,
point,
isn't it?
Yeah, well, and that's the problem. The point you just make, I mean, you've got major television networks that wouldn't cover the president last Thursday, even though Democrats have talked about voter fraud in this country and the intervention of the Chinese, the Russians, the Iranians, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as Donald Trump says it, well, we're not even going to air it because it's just not true.
Yeah.
But you aired it when the Democrats said it.
It reminds me of the conversation that we had with Peter Schweitzer about, having oversight and having.
We should have him back.
Yeah, absolutely. But everything being surveilled, the American people being surveilled on, and I just think about. He said, "Well, it really depends on who holds the key to the surveillance."
That's
I'm like,
right.
well, that's comforting, because
Well, he's not wrong.
Well, sure. So it's okay if the good guys, whoever the good guys are.
Yeah, that's
Because
subjective.
I'm sure, exactly. On our side, it's probably someone who's a Christian conservative person doing the right thing, and on the other side of that coin, it's those.
It's not that.
It's not that.
It's not that.
So
anyhow,
it does concern me a bit.
I can understand. Anyhow, I'm going to look at that case now that you brought it to my attention.
Yeah.
Take a closer look. It's been a Monday. I love you.
I love you.
All right. We'll take a break and be right back with some final thoughts after this. Well, you know, it seems that oil is about the same as it's been for a while. I look at this because I'm not sure where we're going on this. India's crude oil imports soaring 60%, even as the Iran war drives prices slightly higher. Oil is up a bit today, $82 a barrel. Gas is now over $4 on average. Cheapest gas in America continues to be Indiana, $3.35 on average. Number of places got below $3 there for a bit across different parts of the country, but in the end, it went back up because Iran, they're just trying to stall, wait it out. I'm with John Fetterman on this one. Finish the job. It's time to finish the job and be done with it. I am back. I spent last week in D.C., as you know, and it was interesting, as it always is. Nice to have access. It's cool to be able to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, flash a badge, and walk past all the people and have complete access to the White House. It's just, it's an interesting bit of access, which I appreciate. What I didn't appreciate was being in D.C. without my ghost bed. Yeah, did not sleep as well. Got a crown last night. Not a double crown, Kelly, just one. One crown. And I'm glad to be back to my ghost bed. That's a fact. Because I sleep better. American made. And it's just a better bed. I don't know what to say. It's just a better bed. So ghost bed, you can try it for 101 days, risk-free. Go to ghostbed.com/Gruber. Promo code's Gruber. You'll save 10% off the best price of the year. Off the best price of the year, yeah. So that's where we're going to leave it for today. It's been a Monday. It has been a Monday. Fight the good fight. Keep the faith. God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber. Remember, it takes you to save America. We'll talk tomorrow.